The Leonberger is a dog breed whose name derives from the city of Leonberg in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. According to legend, the Leonberger was ostensibly bred as a symbolic dog that would mimic the lion in the town coat of arms. Leonberger is a large, but at the same time elegantly graceful handsome man who knows exactly how to win a place in the owner's heart. He is calm and reasonable, as befits a purebred German, and certainly will never use his own strength against those who are weaker. Good-natured and playful, Leonberger is sincerely glad to see guests, whom he willingly meets at the door, and sees them off, delicately holding his coat with his teeth. At the same time, he manages to cope well with the work of a watchman, sitting regally on patrol and bringing the most hardened lovers of someone else's good to a pre-infarction state with his deaf, bass barking. Highlights. The Leonberger is relatively easy to learn, but agility and other disciplines that hone obedience are not for them. At the same time, in drafting, animals can become serious competitors for other large dogs. The breed is famous for its good nature and sincere love for children, but this only applies to adults. Puppies are not so quick-witted and in games can be guided by the principles of a dog pack and by children. Leonberger is a wonderful companion and watchman. He has a well-developed territorial instinct, so even the most hardcore lover of easy money will not be able to sneak past a sleeping dog. In 19th century Germany, this breed was used as a cheap draft force. The dogs transported small loads on light wooden carts, thereby saving the owner's budget. Physically and psychologically, Leonberger matures slowly, becoming fully mature by 2.5 years of age. Leonberger are family dogs that get the most out of socializing and playing. Due to the impressive size of the breed, suburban maintenance is recommended, but putting its representatives on a chain, limiting in contact with people, is strictly contraindicated. Unlike their fellows in the section, Leonberger is not characterized by excessive drooling. At the same time, if a dog is worried or passionately lusts for a cookie, which you are eating in front of her eyes, thread streaming from the mouth are inevitable. Representatives of this breed are not annoyed by loud, harsh sounds, so feel free to turn on the recording of your favorite rock concert or master the basics of working with a drum kit. Leonbergers are moderately restrained and never raise a stir over trifles or out of harm. If the dog barks, then something has happened that requires the owner's intervention. The breed does not tolerate heat well, preferring to lie down in the shade on especially hot days. For this reason, in summer, dogs are walked early in the morning or late in the evening. History of the Leonberger breed. Leonberger is a breed that owes its origin to a German official, and its name is from the city of Leonberg, in southwestern Germany. In any case, it was this version that received the greatest distribution. Somewhere between the 30s and 40s of the 19th century, the mayor of Leonberg, Heinrich Essig, set out to develop a completely new type of large dog. According to the idea of the breeder, the breed was supposed to resemble the shape of a mountain lion, which, in turn, was the heraldic symbol of the city. Initially, a Newfoundland female and a St. Bernard male took part in breeding experiments. A few years later, a Pyrenean mountain dog joined this love duo, which made Essig the owner of a litter of several shaggy puppies with a silver-gray coat and a black mask on their faces. This arrangement did not suit the breeder, so the experiments had to be continued. Ultimately, the Leonberger took on the warmer, lion tones of the dog, which they recorded in 1848. At some point, vanity and the thirst for financial gain began to speak in Essig, therefore, without hesitation for a long time, the official began to promote his wards in aristocratic circles. So Leonberger appeared at the court of Napoleon III, in the boudoir of the Austro-Hungarian Empress Sissi, in the mansion of Richard Wagner, and other representatives of the beau monde. Less than 10 years later, the pets of the Swabian mayor turned out to be an extremely popular product. Now, in order to acquire a shaggy lump from the nursery of the Leonberg mayor, it was necessary to lay out a tidy sum. Unfortunately, after his death in 1889, Heinrich Essig left neither an intelligible description of the Leonberger's appearance, nor heard books, which gave rise to other interesting versions of the origin of animals. In particular, some experts argued that the Leonberger is not an independent breed, but simply a more pumped version of the ancient German Havelwurts, who were on the verge of extinction in the 19th century. As evidence, the supporters of the theory even cited the names of several breeders of that time who were engaged in restoring the gene pool of endangered animals, which, as it later turned out, included the mayor of Leonberg. Leonberger. Description of the breed. Leonberger can be called a large-scale furry. The weight of males varies from 60 to 77 kilograms with a height at the withers from 74 to 80 centimeters. Females are slightly smaller, their weight ranges from 45 to 60 kilograms, and their height ranges from 61 to 74 centimeters. Females differ from males. Not only in size, their withers are not as prominent as in males. Moreover, girls do not have such a rich collar and fluffy trousers. Dogs have a massive head, but it does not look overly weighted. The skull of Leonberger is slightly convex, moderate stop is clearly visible. The muzzle is elongated, but not pointed, has a characteristic hump, called the Roman profile. Quadrupeds are distinguished by the presence of strong and grasping jaws, a scissor bite. Dogs with a straight bite are not considered defective, but they cannot be called reference dogs. The nose, as befits these big fluffy fellows, is equipped with a massive large lobe, which is a standard black color. Dog eyes are oval in shape and have a mid-range fit and can be either dark or light brown. The third eyelid in this breed is hidden, and the whites of the eye are clean, white, without red vascular stains. Dogs have fleshy ears that are high and have a noticeable fit to the head. Leonberger has an elongated neck that gradually merges into the withers. Suspension is not observed in tetrapods. As for the dog's back, it looks wide, flat, with a prominent withers and a rounded, very powerful croup. In general, the Leonberger has a muscular and harmonious physique with an oval, broad chest and a slightly tucked up belly. The canine limbs are quite strong, set parallel. The shoulder blades are elongated, their location is inclined, the elbows are pressed to the sides, and the pasterns are springy and vertical. On the hind legs, dense thighs, elongated in length, are clearly visible, which form a distinct angle with the lower leg. Leonbergers have strong and sturdy hocks. Paws in dogs are collected in the form of a lump and directed forward, equipped with black pads. The tail looks rich and fluffy. In statics, it looks lowered down, and when moving, it rises slightly, but this elevation should not go above the back line. Popular colors of Leonberger. It was not for nothing that the Leonbergers were bred to look like lions, because their rich and fluffy coat is a dog's calling card. Warm clothing of dogs is two-layer, including a rough and medium soft sauve and a densely stuffed fluffy undercoat, which gives the likeness of a lion's appearance. The zones where the abundant, beautiful, woolen cover is clearly noticeable are neck area, breast, hips, feathering of the forelimbs. A slight undulation of the hairs on the fur coat is allowed, but in most of its mass the coat should be straight. As for the colors, they all vary within red tones, differing in color saturation. Leonberger are brownish red, yellowish sand, dark red, golden. In general, there are a lot of variations. The standard does not allow the presence of gray and brown colors. The possession of his own color is also not inherent in these dogs. An obligatory attribute of these four-legged is a dark mask on the muzzle, which can also extend to the shoulder area. It has brown or black shades, as if darkening the red dog's fur. Interesting fact, if the dog does not have a mask at all, or it is partial, incomplete, then this is considered a marriage and a defect leading to disqualification. A small patch of white fur, less than a human palm, is acceptable in the dog's chest area. Some white hairs may be present on the toes. But if the areas of white are large enough and located in other places other than the above, then this is a deviation prohibited from the standard. The character and habits of the Leonberger. Leonberger can be called a very sensible, shaggy, good-natured person who, knowing about his power and strength, will not use them for selfish purposes. Moreover, check on his beloved household. Leons are not cowards. They, if necessary, can bark so much that the veins of the one who annoyed them will shake. These dogs are considered excellent watchmen, but, despite this, they do not like to dominate, be suspicious of everyone and aggressive. It seems that these big guys are characterized by unshakable calmness. They are phlegmatic about many irritating factors. Even loudly screaming, thundering and mischievous children will not lead Leon out of patience. He will just calmly watch them, not succumbing to any provocations. If suddenly you saw that Leonberger is aggressive and suspicious, then such a dog is mentally unhealthy, but this is nonsense. Among its beloved household members, the dog is always calm and good-natured, but it certainly will not make friends with strangers, although it will not show special suspicion either, it will withstand neutrality. Big people get along well with other pets, they don't even find fault with cats, they will not be provocateurs in relations with dogs. Although a lot depends on upbringing, even the Leons can lose their nerves from very annoying and arrogant dog people, and then the good-natured, healthy man can fight back. Leonberger, smart and obedient guys, quite amenable to training, just do not expect any special tricks and skills from them, this is not their path. These tailed beasts can be called unhurried. It seems that they carefully consider each command and mentally ask themselves the question, do I need this? You don't need to wait for Leon to rush to do what you instructed him to do, you need to wait for him to swing. The dog will execute the most elementary commands, but with the fact that it does not even want to bother with more complicated commands, it can do it somehow, believing that it will go like this, why bother? Despite the fact that Leonberger is phlegmatic, they need constant contact with a person. It may seem that they are immersed in themselves and are not interested in everything around them. This is not at all so. Leons are very sociable, cheerful and always happy to talk. If you just whistle them, they will gladly spend time with you instead of lying on a soft couch. Interesting facts about the Leonberger. The appearance of Leonberger does not correspond to their good nature and prudence. These big good-natured people only look stern. There are many amazing stories and facts about this breed. We will try to list the most entertaining ones. Maybe they will tell even more about the character and disposition of this large and, at the same time, affectionate dog. The homeland of the Leonberger is Germany, and they are named after the German town of Leonberg. These huge dogs take a long time to mature and become mature, both physically and emotionally, only by 2.5 years of age. At first, these dogs were used as draft dogs, transporting small loads with their help. The Leonbergers were harnessed to wooden carts. Then the Leons gained popularity. They were attributed to luxury breeds. Puppies began to cost dearly. Only the rich could afford such pets. This breed almost died out after the First and Second World Wars, when only a few purebred Leons remained alive. Fortunately, diligent dog breeders have done everything to revive these four-legged dogs. Leonberger, the real shaggy nannies, able to take care of your kids. Only with puppies it is better not to leave babies, because they are more daring and not as well-mannered as their mature and reasonable brothers. Worldwide statistics show that today there are just over 8,000 purebred Leonberger in the world. Leonberger is not a chained dog. Being on a leash, the dog can become depressed and undermine his health due to such stress. Leons are large-sized silent people who will not bark without a good reason, so if your dog starts barking, it means that something has happened. You must definitely pay attention to it. The Lion Dog Monument adorns the street in the homeland of this fluffy big man, the city of Leonberg. Leons are not very willing to obey strict commands, which, in fact, they do not need at all, because dogs already understand their owners, feeling the intonation of the voice and its timbre. They can be called obedient, but not helpful. Pros and cons of Leonberger. Like all other breeds, the Leonberger has its advantages and disadvantages, although the owners of such dogs do not notice them because they are completely fascinated by their fluffy pets. Let's try to look at dogs objectively, so to speak, from the outside, describing all their pros and cons. This can help those who are considering adopting such a puppy. Let's start with the positives. Pros of Leonberger. Dogs are not dominant. They have a reasonable, calm and friendly disposition, suitable for families with children, becoming the most real-tailed nannies. They are sociable, love live communication, are the owners of a stable psyche, obedient and amenable to training, get along well with other pets, they are silent, so they will not bark, are not afraid or irritated by loud sounds, are loyal to strangers, in vain they never aggress, they have a magnificent lion appearance, excellent watchman. Cons of the breed. Not suitable for small apartments because they are very large, they need daily walking, but active physical activity is not always necessary. Long coat requires careful grooming. The life of Leons is not as long as that of many other breeds. These giants live only 9 to 11 years. Leonberger is not always and everywhere you can take with you because of its large size. Large-scale molt, intensively manifesting itself twice a year. Predisposition to joint dysplasia, all due to the same large parameters. Slow dogs do not like the execution of master commands that are too complex for them. Leonberger Care. A country house is ideal for keeping a Leonberger. The dog must have unhindered access in order to enter from the street inside. Of course, this can turn into some trouble for the owners. Dogs have a passion for water, therefore, seeing any puddle, they are ready to immediately plunge into it and then, without a twinge, bring all the dirt directly into the house. Even these lion cubs drink so zealously that they often make whole puddles on the floor. To keep the house more or less in order, the Leonberger can be temporarily moved into the courtyard, especially in summer. The dog perceives the booth or aviary adequately, without feeling hostility. Leon himself will be glad to be in the fresh air. The best thing for such a dog is the presence of a shady canopy and even a small pool, even a bathtub with water will do, nearby, then the lion cub will be just happy. Puppies are kept at home, a certain cozy place is allocated for them, where drafts do not fall. The baby should not be allowed to slide on the laminate, linoleum, this can harm his forming skeleton, so the floors should be covered with carpets. It is advisable that puppies do not climb stairs before the age of 1 year, this can be dangerous for them. As for walks, Leonberger does not need active and strong training during the walks, especially you need to monitor the activity of the puppies, not allowing them to overwork. Long walks and jogging can be arranged starting from a 1.5-year-old canine age. Until that time, you need to calmly walk the dogs, changing routes to make them more interesting and more fun. Compulsory training for mature Leons is also not needed, simple walks are enough for them, which should be done twice a day. The duration of each promenade is about an hour. In the summertime, you can go to the beach with the Leons because they are just delighted with swimming. Only late at night it is better not to do this, the dog will not have time to dry properly and go to bed, and this can lead to the appearance of an unpleasant dog smell, eczema, dumped wool, etc. If you have a furry friend like Leon, then you should immediately get ready for the most extensive dog molt, which occurs twice a year with incredible intensity. These dogs are usually not cut, so the owners arm themselves with brushes and combs, massage, metal, wielding them regularly and intensively. An interesting fact, in order not to break the structure of the fur and the hairs do not break, it is better not to comb them dry, but to use special conditioners for this, which facilitate this process. Dogs should be washed as needed, but it is not so rare, because the Leons will never miss a puddle, so you have to bathe them regularly. To prevent sour eyes, you need to monitor their condition and wipe them weekly with a napkin with chamomile broth or tea infusion. Dog ears need not only cleaning from dust and sulfur pollution, but also ventilation. For this procedure, they must be lifted and worked with the hanging tips, like a fan, so that the airflow penetrates inside. With the help of a clipper for large breeds, it is necessary to trim the nails monthly. An important procedure is a dental examination. Tomato juice and vegetables with a hard structure, for example, carrots, can be used as a natural tooth cleaning component. Special cleaning bones are also great. In general, the dog is rather big and it needs careful and high-quality care. The diet of the Leonberger. Looking at Leon, you might think that he is an unprecedented glutton, but this is a wrong impression. It turns out that the metabolism of these dogs is slowed down, so these big people do not experience a great addiction to food. You don't need to force feed the fluffy, offer him forbidden delicacies, arouse interest in food. You should reconsider the diet, making sure that there is enough food for Leon. Diseases and health problems. Unfortunately, Leonberger, in comparison with other breeds, do not live so much, on average, about 9 years. This is typical of all large-sized dogs. These four-legged animals are quite healthy, the owner must make every effort to keep Leon's well-being excellent throughout his life. To do this, annually, a preventive examination should be carried out in the clinic, where it is necessary to take not only tests, but also carry out an X-ray examination. No one-cancelled vaccinations, which must be done in a timely manner. Deworming and flea and tick treatment, especially in spring and summer, are also very important. The following ailments can be observed in Leonberger: dysplasia of the joints due to the large weight load on them, oncological diseases in older dogs, 6 to 7 years old, arthritis accompanied by severe pain in the inflamed joints, intestinal volvulus due to non-compliance with the feeding regime, eosinophilic osteomyelitis, acute or chronic infectious inflammation of the bone, allergy, dermatitis, entropy, turn of the century, Addison's disease, adrenal glands are affected. As already noted, many problems can be avoided by carefully caring for the dog, constantly observing its behavior and mood, and feeding correctly and in a balanced manner. Young puppies should not begin to be trained and socialized until they have received all the necessary vaccinations. It is generally better not to take them out of the house before this time, so that unvaccinated babies do not catch the infection. Leonberger. Price and how to buy correctly. If you nevertheless decide to buy a little lion cub, which will later turn into a big fluffy friend, then it is better to contact a specialized nursery, of which there are more and more in our country. Dogs in them must meet all the requirements of the standard. Visiting breed shows, you can make acquaintance with professional breeders who can also help in the acquisition of Leon. In general, newborn puppies of this breed weigh about 500 grams, but closer to the 40th day of age, their weight increases every 10 times. This must be taken into account because puppies are sold from 45 days of age. It is worth carefully observing the puppies, they should be well fed, cheerful, inquisitive, and, of course, fluffy. Look at the color of the baby's eyelids. If their mucous membrane has a pale pink tone, then this may be a sign of anemia. Babies at the age of 40 days already know how to eat well from a bowl, lapping quickly and cheerfully. Follow this by coming to the nursery at the time of feeding. It is worth consulting with a breeder, who at first can help you, giving advice on care and maintenance. This is especially important for those who have a puppy of this breed for the first time. Speaking about the cost of Leonberger, it is worth noting that it is rather big and the product is quite scarce. In nurseries, the price of a fluffy starts from $700 and can go up to $2,000. The most expensive are puppies, whose parents are prize winners of international and European exhibitions. An important fact, if the parents of little Leon became champions, then it costs much less. Here is such a dog statistics. In conclusion, I would like to add that the Leonbergers teach us kindness, sincerity, prudence, and generosity. Looking at these shaggy giants, possessing equanimity and boundless calmness, one also wants to be wiser, more responsive and show greater sensitivity to others. Leonberger is an intelligent dog with a human character, ready to communicate with you on an equal footing, without loud commands and orders, but simply, kindly.